Most people believe that strength is loud. They think power means explaining yourself, correcting others, proving your point, and making sure you're understood. That belief is wrong. Truly strong people rarely defend themselves, not because they are weak, not because they are afraid, but because they understand something most people don't. They understand where real authority comes from. When someone attacks you verbally, questions your intentions, or misjudges your actions, the instinctive reaction is to respond immediately, to clarify, to justify, to explain your side of the story. But every explanation has a hidden message. It says, "I need your approval to feel stable." It says, "Your opinion has power over me." Strong people don't send that message. They know that reacting emotionally hands control to the other person. The more you explain yourself, the more you invite judgment. The more you defend, the more you signal that the accusation matters. Silence, when used correctly, does the opposite. Silence creates imbalance. It forces the other person to sit with their own words. It shifts the pressure back to them. Strong people are comfortable with being misunderstood, temporarily. They trust that consistency over time speaks louder than any argument in the moment. This doesn't mean they never speak. It means they choose their moments. They don't argue in emotional environments. They don't explain themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They don't waste energy correcting every false perception. Because they know something else. People who attack often want a reaction, not the truth. And when you refuse to react, you remove the reward. There's also a deeper reason strong people don't defend themselves. They don't need to protect an image. Weak people defend themselves because their identity feels fragile. Strong people know who they are, and that knowledge is quiet. They don't chase validation. They don't rush to be seen as good, right, or misunderstood. They let time and behavior do the talking. This is uncomfortable for others. Silence makes insecure people nervous. Calmness in the face of accusation feels threatening. It creates the impression of control. That's why calm people are often perceived as powerful, even dangerous. In the next part, we'll talk about how defending yourself actually lowers your status, and why the people who explain the most are often respected the least. When you defend yourself, you think you're protecting your reputation. In reality, you're often doing the opposite. Status isn't determined by how correct you are. It's determined by how you behave under pressure. High-status people don't rush to explain themselves. They don't argue every accusation. They don't panic when misunderstood. Low-status behavior looks different. It's fast, emotional, over-detailed. The more you talk, the more you expose uncertainty. This is why people who constantly explain themselves often lose respect, even when they're right. Their explanations signal anxiety, not confidence. Strong people understand a key psychological rule. The person who is least reactive controls the frame. When someone challenges you, they're often trying to pull you into their emotional frame. They want to decide the topic, the tone, and the pace. Defending yourself accepts that frame. You answer their questions. You justify your choices. You let them lead the interaction. Strong people refuse that invitation. Instead of defending, they pause. Instead of explaining, they observe. Instead of reacting, they let the moment pass. That pause changes everything. It forces the other person to fill the silence. It reveals insecurity, not strength. People who are truly confident don't need immediate agreement. They don't need to correct every misunderstanding. They know that real authority doesn't need constant reinforcement. There's another uncomfortable truth. Most accusations are not requests for clarity. They're attempts to gain leverage. When you defend yourself, you give that leverage away. Strong people respond differently. They speak briefly, they stay neutral, they don't over-justify. Sometimes they don't respond at all. And that's not weakness, it's discipline. They understand that not every challenge deserves an answer, because every answer costs energy. Every explanation invites debate. Every defense opens the door to more attacks. Strong people protect their energy carefully. They don't confuse being heard with being respected. Respect comes from consistency, not arguments, from calm presence, not emotional explanations. In the next part, we'll look at when silence becomes power and when speaking actually weakens your position, even if your intentions are good. Silence is often misunderstood. People think silence means submission. They assume that if you don't respond, you've lost. In reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools a strong person has, when it's used consciously. Strong people don't stay silent because they have nothing to say. They stay silent because they understand timing. They know that words spoken at the wrong moment weaken authority. When emotions are high, logic doesn't land. When egos are activated, explanations become fuel. Silence cuts that fuel. It interrupts escalation. It slows the interaction down. It forces reflection. Most people can't tolerate silence. They rush to fill it. And in doing so, they reveal themselves. They explain too much. They justify too fast. They expose insecurity they didn't intend to show. Strong people let that happen, not out of arrogance, but out of self-control. They don't need to dominate conversations to feel powerful. They don't need to win every exchange. They understand something subtle. Power grows when you are comfortable not being understood immediately. This is especially important in environments with social pressure, workplaces, leadership roles, public settings. When a leader explains every decision defensively, people sense uncertainty. When a leader stays calm, brief, and grounded, people feel stability. Silence creates gravity. It signals that you are not operating on impulse, that you are not threatened by opinions, that you trust your position enough to let it stand without decoration. There's also a deeper layer. Strong people are selective about whose opinion matters. They don't defend themselves to everyone. They don't explain their choices to people who haven't earned context, because context is intimacy, and not everyone deserves access. This boundary is often mistaken for coldness, but it's actually clarity. Strong people speak when it matters. And when they do, their words carry weight, because they haven't been diluted by constant explanation. In the final part, we'll talk about when strong people do speak, and how their words land differently precisely because they don't defend themselves. Strong people don't stay silent forever. They just don't speak impulsively. There's a difference. Weak reactions are immediate. Strong responses are deliberate. When strong people finally speak, they do it with precision. No emotional charge, no unnecessary details. No need to convince. Their words land because they are rare. Most people talk too much. They explain every move. They narrate their intentions in real time. Strong people do the opposite. They let actions accumulate meaning. They let patterns speak first. They allow time to build context. So when they finally speak, their words don't sound defensive. They sound final. This is why calm statements from strong people feel heavier. They're not trying to win the moment, they're closing it. Another key difference is intention. Strong people speak to set boundaries, not to seek understanding. They don't say, "Let me explain myself." They say, "This is how it is." And then they stop. No follow-up justification, no emotional cleanup, no chasing agreement. That restraint creates authority, because authority isn't about being liked. It's about being clear. Strong people understand this deeply. They don't fear disagreement. They don't fear being misjudged. They don't fear temporary misunderstanding. They fear something else. They fear losing self-respect by reacting from insecurity. That's why they don't defend themselves unnecessarily. They know that defending every accusation slowly trains people to question you more. Silence, used correctly, trains people to think twice. It introduces uncertainty, not about you, but about their assumptions. And uncertainty shifts power. This doesn't mean strong people are passive. It means they are selective. They engage when it matters. They disengage when it doesn't. They don't confuse activity with strength. They don't confuse noise with presence. Real strength is calm, not rigid. Quiet, not absent. Grounded, not reactive. And that's why strong people don't defend themselves. They don't need to. Their consistency speaks. Their boundaries hold. Their silence carries weight. Because the strongest message is often the one you don't rush to send.